Hey everyone, Ben Coomber Radio. It is great to have you back. We have an amazing guest today as we discuss a bit of old school nutrition and a bit of new school nutrition and delve into the world of stress and everything in between. Now, my guest today, I read his book, The Warrior Diet, some time ago. I was trying to think how long. It's probably about 8-9 years ago. It was when I was doing a lot of research into fasting. Martin Berkhan was on the scene a lot with his lean gains kind of principles. And again, it was an amazing book. It was very much when I was investing a lot of time in ancestral nutrition. Like, in theory, what should we be doing compared to what we have been doing for all the generations of eating that we have been doing? But anyway, I'll stop talking. Let's get the guest on the show and dive straight into the conversation. Ori Hofmekler, hello.
Nice to meet you. I'm here and thank you for inviting me.
Sir, it is an absolute pleasure. Now, would you like to give the audience a little cliff note background as to what got you into nutrition and health, and just paint a little picture for the people that are listening?
You know what? I would say that my interest in nutrition is just inherent. I believe that every animal out there and every one of you eat, so you should be interested in what you eat because there's a direct correlation between what you eat and how do you feel and how do you perform. But I came from a country in war, and since I'm a kid, kids were trained actually to be in good shape. So nutrition and anything that has to do with this is more related to survival, which later on during the military service, it's becoming very obvious. It is my personality to analyze things. That's the way I am since I remember myself. So early on already during that time, I realized that where there is a direct correlation between not eating and performing well, cognitive and even physically. I realized that running, for instance, on a full stomach is counter-effective. And when I eat less during the active hours, not only that I'm in better focus, I actually perform and endure better than before. That was the first thing that I learned during that period. It is on later on, during my university, the college time, that I start to get some massive research from the existing data on what was later on called intermittent fasting. When I learned that some of the most notorious classical group of warriors, such as the Spartan, ancient Greeks, and the Romans, used to virtually fast during the day. They already follow intermittent fasting over 8,000 years ago. For the Romans, it was almost a discipline. I wrote about it. There was a chapter in my Warrior Diet book. So when I came in the Warrior Diet in the year 2000, I wrote it. 2002, it was published. When I came with a Warrior Diet, there was no intermittent fasting. In fact, it was regarded as dietary blasphemy. The idea of skipping breakfast and lunch was regarded horrible. Everybody was trying to believe that breakfast is the most important meal of the day and we need to keep eating in order to keep energy. It is only now that scientists start to realize clearly that biological systems are thriving not with excess energy like machines, but the opposite, with energy under energy deficit. Biological systems, and I'm talking about from bacteria to human, are challenged by energy deficit. That's why your hockey benefits you, because you are challenged by physical stress that deplete your energy, don't load energy. Your body compensates by activating an amazing system, a stress response system that is spread wide inherent from your genes to your heat shock protein system to certain kind of critical pathway that not only allow you to look better, leaner, not only just protecting your brain from injury and the muscle, increase muscle performance, it also extends your life. So I was always fascinated by nutrition, and now more than ever, because I do believe that nutrition is the key element to life extension and thriving. And I believe the final step was in my latest book. In the past 7 years, I was involved in research, still have been involved in a research project, which I call SAF, Stress Activated Food. And the research was based on the idea, on the assumption that if you, for instance, under stress, get into a better shape because your body is programmed to improve you through adaptation, so is the food that we eat. However, there was some kind of research done on this area, and given that most of the food that we eat today is not coming from stress species, but rather cultivated species, there was a very strong interest on my side and some other scientists that I was collaborating with to figure out what exactly happened to food species under stress. And I can tell you now that based on this amazing project and the discovery, I can tell you now that I strongly believe that the early human food chain was loaded with stress food and nutrients that we don't no longer get in our diet. These are nutrients that plants or other species produce in response to stress. Nutrient or molecules, stress-activated molecules, are supposed to protect the organism from stressors like heat shock, cold shock, lack of food, lack of nutrition, lack of fertilization, lack of water. They produce compounds or predation, pesticides, pests, these molecules that protect the plant, when animals and humans consume them, they yield you the same benefit, life-protective benefit, and even more so. They are anti-inflammatory. They inhibit a mechanism that drive aging and cancer. They activate gene and pathway that extend your life. This is an incredible phenomenon. Unfortunately, this nutrient, they actually mimic the effect of fasting and exercise on your body, even when you don't fast and exercise. Just think about this, that we evolved to be nourished by food that mimic the effect of exercise in our body, even when we sleep. What is an amazing phenomenon? We miss a lot today. I came with a SAF project and even tried to bring back some of this nutrient in certain kind of products. However, the overall, to address your question, I strongly believe that we evolved to thrive under nutritional stress. Nutritional stress means calorie restriction or fasting, lack of energy coming. The compensation later must come, of course. We need to eat, but we need to gather to get the best out of this phenomena and to challenge our body properly. We better be on a state of undereating. That means negative energy balance for most of the day. It benefits us. Every single research on every single organism have shown that this kind of method extend life and improve resistance to disease and even cancer.
So talking about fasting, I mentioned before we started this podcast that I do fast on some days of the week, and I do it by feel. I just listen to my body, and it was largely in response to your question. You said to me, Ben, what diet do you follow? And I kind of told you, and you sort of, your ears pricked up with interest to sort of say, Well, that's interesting the way that you paint your picture of your diet to me, and then you started to talk about biological fitness, physiological fitness. What were you intrigued by in terms of my answer to you about my diet? What were you thinking? I'm intrigued.
First of all, thank you for asking this. And the fact that you look good and healthy is already a big indication that something must be very good. Honestly, what you see is what you get. I'm a true believer of that. You're also very young. But the fact that you decide to do fasting once in a while just shows that there is some kind of either desire on your part or acknowledgement on the importance of fasting and what it does. And it does do incredible phenomena. Everything I just described, the activation of longevity genes and resistant to disease and resistant to inflammation, happen when you fast. One key phenomena on that challenge is the activating of the heat shock protein system. That system includes over 300 kind of proteins, some of which are triggered to search and destroy every weak and sick cell in your body. I would tell you this one, and I'm coming back to your question. I believe that we are predominantly programmed not to age, but rather predominantly programmed for anti-aging. We are predominantly programmed not to get sick, not to get cancer, but predominantly programmed against cancer, to be resilient to cancer and disease. We just need to encourage this program to take place. Nothing can trigger it more than fasting. It's really the ultimate challenge. If you do know how to do it, if you don't overdo it or underdo it, you will do it. What intrigued me about you is almost like extreme switches between fasting to eating whatever you want, including sugar, as you say, enjoying your life, drink alcohol, which is good. I drink alcohol too. I really like good wine. This extreme is interesting because it does happen in life. And it does happen that organisms or even animals go between time of feast and famine. It's a known phenomenon. The question is this an ideal? You say, and part of the interview, you say, well, I train massively. I play hockey. It's a hard game. So I need to eat a lot. Yeah, I need to eat a lot to compensate. And it's correct. But it's reaching this area is particularly intriguing because that's where the listeners need to think. Many of you are many athletes, and many of you perhaps are athletes. And we were trained as athletes to believe that frequent meal and certain kind of sport nutrition feeding improve our performance. Therefore, we need to eat that way. That if we spend a lot of energy, we need to replenish glycogen ASAP so we can keep performing and improving. And this is even true. The problem is that even though it is true, there is a trade-off here. And I show in my new book, The 7 Principles of Stress. Okay? I clearly show what happened to the average competitive athletes today. When you look at an endurance athletes today, there was a massive research of over 15 years, whether it's long distance skiing or running or triathlon, they have a life extension, they have a lifespan of couch potatoes. How is it that the fittest people among us cannot survive better than the unfittest among us? It's a very intriguing question. Why is it that the average life of even a football player is short? Why is it that we don't even see bodybuilders getting old well? I mean, it's hard to see this phenomena. It's because there is a trade-off. in my book, I showed the concept. It's called biological fitness. It's a different concept. It's also about fitness, only that here the priority is not performance, not maximum performance, but rather maximum life. What can you do? And how do you act? And how do you think about fitness if the main criteria is survival, life extension? Very different concept. Let me give you an example as an athlete on the muscle tissue. Ben, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
You're here. Oh, you suddenly froze. Sorry.
I'm just intensely listening.
Yeah, okay. So let's look at the muscle. The typical muscle of a sprint runner generally is the type 2B fast glycolytic. It maximum intent, maximum force. Usually it's a strong muscle, it's a big muscle, and it does its job to get you to the target for short distance in minimum time. But, and this is kind of a muscle the bodybuilders also have. But this muscle, survival-wise, is extremely inferior. It failed to utilize fat fuel. It is not high in mitochondria. And as you age with a muscle like this, you're going to see the flaw of the muscle. Your body will become almost resistant to fat burning. You will find it's difficult to keep your insulin sensitive. Put it this way, the typical bodybuilder would not survive natural selection if he was living 10,000 years ago. There was no advantage to such a muscle. And when you look at evolution, and we use a simple biology of the human biology, you can see that the myosin heavy chain that develop your muscle always go from the type 2B to the type 2AX. Not the other way. You cannot move your type 2A, the second fast muscle, to type 2B, but the other way. Why? Because when type 2B, let's say that I take you with all your big muscles and hustle you to do some serious, not aerobic, but drills under high intensity. It will, such as fighters, for instance, it will force conversion of the type 2B muscle to type 2X because of one reason, increased mitochondria. To better survive, you need to increase the mitochondria, the organ that produce energy in your muscle and your tissue. This is a key. And every aspect of that, in your longevity system, in your genes that activated under stress, especially the PPAR, gamma, and alpha, clearly show it's coming with transcription factors that increase mitochondria density in your muscle. In fact, fasting alone can do it. And if you exercise while fasting, which is a no-no for athletes, exercise while fasting, you do it even more so. You activate this transcription coactivator PGC1 alpha that increase muscle mitochondria. It's and insulin sensitivity. So in biological system, in biological fitness, there is a trend which is different than athletic fitness. One, biological fitness is for maximum life. Athletic fitness, conventionally, is for maximum performance. Ask yourself, where do you want to be? My feeling that I'm not a psychologist, you want to be in both. But you still need to ask yourself this question. Because right now, you look to me very young. And it's not just for you, for all your listeners. There is a point of life that you as a man or a woman, a female, male and female, have to ask yourself, am I ready to adjust my diet to my age? Am I ready to adjust my goals, life goals, to my age, to where I am? If you don't ask the question, you will go and spiral down, because you cannot afford yourself to keep a steady diet that you had as an adolescent, like you are 16 or even 25 or even 30, when you are 40 or 50. You've got to change your way. You've got to constantly check your priorities, fitness and life priorities, and change them. And in my opinion, you can fool around with life and do anything you want when you're young if you're smart. But at a certain point, you've got to understand the concept of biological fitness and shift into that.
So, talking about different levels of fitness and stress, which is a big talking point of yours, I'll talk to you about something that I've been kind of aware of with my own body in the last year. I'm now 35, and my ability to perform and be fit is different to when I was 25 or 27. And now I like to train with more intensity on some days and have more days off. So where I used to train 5 or 6 days a week, now I only train 4 days a week and I have 3 days off. So I can train with intensity and, really just work hard, get the stimulus, but have periods of downtime, relaxation, being able to focus on my work, and also focus on my mobility. My mobility and my movement is something I've come to value a lot more as I've aged. Like at the moment, I'm trying to practice the splits because I find it really helps my hips. I feel so much better on it. Is that kind of what you mean? What I've intuitively started to change just by listening to my body?
Absolutely, everybody has. First of all, you're aware of that, which is great. And I can see that you made some adjustment and you feel the difference. But there are many ways to do it. And you're still very young. There's a point that you should need to be even more precise with the adjustment. Let's jump for a second from the end, like you see in an action movie, the start from the end of the movie, boom, boom, and then you go back. I believe that men can get laid when they are 90 years old. I believe strongly, and I got some evidence in my book, that we have no clue how far we can live, extend our life, and sustain great quality of life, and what great shape we can be, at least in theory. We live in a system that compromises. If we have time, we'll talk a little bit about the bad things too. Mm-hmm. But potentially, we can more than double our lifespan. And when it's written in the Bible that Abraham, our ancestor, I think he bring his child when he was over 80 years old, it is possible. And I'm not just talking about males, I'm talking about females too. I mean, this is really a very, very interesting phenomena, how natural selection act on organism. You really need to give natural selection a good reason to keep you around. And if you give natural selection a reason, it will keep you in a great shape. In fact, in theory, regardless yet to the regimen, you can be in better shape 20 years from now than you are now in many ways. What needs to be done is constant. So what you do is a good step, but every 5 years or so, or maybe whenever you feel the instinct to do that, try to adjust and try to think to see how it fits you. I'm a stronger believer in short, intense exercise, almost daily. Mm-hmm. Why? Because we live in the circadian clock, and everything in our system is very sensitive. I know the circadian clock is not perfect, and there are some switches of half an hour to a couple of hours. Jet lag here, jet lag there, most people have. But regardless, I can tell you for sure that I'm expecting the night tonight and tomorrow another sunshine to come here in California before the rain is coming, for sure. And I'm sure you do expect the same thing. But it's not just in your mind. Your whole system is built for that. So the application of physical and nutritional stress as you get older, in my opinion, get tighter with your circadian clock. It's good to take off, by the way. However, I do believe that even 10 or 5 minutes of intense drills per day just to wake up this system and activate this gene while you are even fasting will do tremendous job, especially if you do it early in the day, to put your body in this survival mode and jump start. Second, we just talk about, and I talk a lot in my book about the energy trigger, the fact that you can deplete your energy. And massive research now show that after a certain threshold of depletion, like depletion of glycogen, amazing phenomena is happening. There is awakening of stem cells that would otherwise remain completely dormant, even in old individuals. It has been shown that extreme energy depletion wake up repair mechanism in the brain that scientists do not believe it even existed. Here are some studies that were done a couple of years ago in Davis University in California. So what do? I would say give your body the signal of extreme depletion by exercising while fasting early in the day, even if it's only 5 or 15 minutes. That's it. Find a drill that can do it for you. Check for yourself. It's amazing. And if you also, and then you have the rest of the day to do whatever you do. You can take complete day off. But again, being with a circadian clock, getting into almost like a military routine in your private life while enjoying life, it's great. Also, remember, when you deplete your energy beyond a certain point, this is stress principle number 4 and 5. Depletion of energy make you so resilient to toxicity, to disease, including to sugar. When you're extremely energy depleted, glycogen depleted, even sugar cannot hurt you. Your body become extremely resilient to anything. Means you can really indulge yourself at that day, in the end of the day, and live the way you like to live. Enjoy your food, enjoy your alcohol. I'm not saying I think sugar should be eliminated. That's another subject that I'm working on right now, practical solution against sugar. However, just think about the advantage. So for your question, absolutely good move. It shows good intention and awareness to where you are. My advice, try to make it a bit tightened. That means don't stop working out completely. Give yourself this tease, of 5 to 15 minutes a day, just injection. Mm-hmm. And it's good for your body to feel it. Okay. Not just, I have animals here, we rescue animals. I do the same thing with them. They want to do it. I have a chapter in my book, it showed the desire for stress. Don't you have this desire? If I take you away from exercise for a week or 2, you're going to feel it. Mm-hmm. You're going to feel the desire for stress, and not just physical, anything. We evolved for stress, and we evolved to be around the circadian clock. We need to find the right balance to marry them together.
Well, I will try that. I'll try doing little bits of high intensity stuff on my days off, and I will let you know. Ori, how old are you?
I'm knocking 70 right now.
Okay. And how long, in your head, realistically, do you think you'll live to?
Sorry? How long realistically am I going to live?
Yeah.
It's a good question. It's a good question. Look, I wish I knew when I was young, or even your age, what I know now. There's a lot of collateral damage on me. I learned it the hard way, check and balance, and I don't know, but I hope to come. I'm working on a project that I would love maybe to discuss with you maybe 6 months from now. Mm-hmm. Because I do believe that if right, I can say that I have a chance to live much longer than expected conventionally. I don't want to say a number. I don't want to jinx myself. If I ask you, could you give a number to yourself? As a joke, maybe. But yes, I do believe that there is a method that can extend life without compromising the quality of life. I don't see a reason to live long if you become a bag of bones or a half with a brain, sluggish brain, everything. I don't want to be like this. I believe that life extension should come along with improvement or sustainability of life quality, that you totally alert, great shape, can physically and mentally perform your task and teach other people or guide other people how to do it too. No reason. And nature is not going to let you stay around. Honestly, biologists believe that it also has to do with reproduction. When you finish your job, you're done. If you cannot reproduce anymore, it's just a matter of time. So, and maybe it's partly true, okay? But that's not the only way. That's not the only way. So yeah, I do believe it's possible, but we are just in the beginning of understanding how far can we extend it.
I think one of the things that we'll see in science and media definitely over the next 10 to 20 years is all these different methods of life extension, especially, there's so many tech startups and biohacking and kind of leaders around the thought process of, right, how can we think better? How can we move better? And I, for one, will be a strong proponent of anything that can make me live till 110, 120, 130 in good health. I'm of the same opinion. If I start to, have poor quality of life, then I'll probably chuck myself off a bridge and just call it a day. Otherwise, I wanna see how far I can push my body. Like, I think living is exciting. I see too many people around me willing to almost give up on their health and their body almost by the time that they get to 35, 40. And I think
it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, you haven't even lived half your life yet, and you're giving up on your body. It's just ridiculous. Ori, I'm really interested in what your routine is as someone that has a very ancestral approach to living, really values fasting, high intensity exercise. What does a normal day look like for you?
I'll try to combine this answer, thank you for asking, but I try to combine it with what you asked me before and what you just said now.
Okay.
Because I'm similar to you. I'm very interested to how far can we go? What is life is about if it's not challenge, if it's not living heritage of knowledge of how to get the best out of it. Everything in life, from literature to art to sport, it's all about the human legacy. Of course, there are bad things, so we have to bout it. My premise, and with my stress active food research, I realized I want you to focus just with me on one thing. Time is a big factor. Under 24 hours. So we know already that our body and all other biological systems are driven by signals. The signal to basically burn fat or gain fat, the signal to basically activate metabolic pathway that are anti-inflammatory, or the signal to get inflamed. It's all signal. Toxin can signal you to die, to basically dysfunction your body, and other compounds can do the opposite. And sometimes a toxin can do it for you. So what happened is all signals and time. We live today in a world where, in the best case, people exercise and get the benefit of it percolating in their system for an hour or several hours a day, okay? And the same with intermittent fasting. But generally, after we eat or when we sleep or this or that, many hours during the day, or at least sometimes half of it, we get the other signals, which contradict the good signals. So it's a matter of balance between things. The key, you asked me about life extension, the key for life extension, the key to break the score of living is to find a way to get this good signal of longevity percolating your system 24 hours a day. How do you do that? How do you, in practice, signal your body to shift itself, to improve itself, to improve the fat tissue? That's a subject by itself. The improvement of fat tissue, the PPAR alpha genes. How do you signal improvement in muscle, in brain capacity? How do you boost your defenses to become a superhuman for 24 hours per day? I believe that I know the solution. And I truly believe that if we can redefine the human food chain and separate between inflammatory food, food that overactivate the mechanism mTOR that build your muscle and drive aging, and food that does the opposite, that is anti-inflammatory, inhibit mTOR, and promote longevity. If you know how to separate them, redesign your diet and put nutrients that constantly percolate in your system 24 hours signaling you to keep your insulin sensitive, to transform your body to better survive, you will more than double your lifespan. You would look the way you are. Honestly, I know it sounds science fiction. You would look the way you are right now, 30 years from now and more, and maybe better. Maybe better. There is clear science now and evidence that we can regenerate tissue in a way that we do never experience. What would happen, we have a system that would have to collapse before it happened. Because people, if you go to the supermarket, in England, I'm sure it's very similar to here. In the main shelves, next to your eyes, all these sugary, beautiful things with all these beautiful cartoons from Quaker Oats to Aunt Jemima, all these nice little cozy cartoons that kill more people than the Nazis. Okay? These are the people, these are the food that people like to eat. If they come to the awareness and to do the right food selection revolution that I'm talking about, this industry will collapse. Somebody will have to innovate good, tasty food that fit new criteria. I'm, by the way, working on this project already. I believe that soon I'm going to release the world the first sugar substitute that look like sugar, behave like sugar, and function like sugar, only that it's not a sugar. It's a plant compound. I'm saying it because solution will be needed to come. However, Ben, it is possible. It is possible to extend life and double life and maybe more so without losing compromise. It is possible to never die from aging. You don't have to die. You can die old. One day we're all gonna die, but we don't have to die from aging. What do? I'm trying to do it on my personal life. We are growing here vegetables and fruits. I'm living off the land. I have very full control of what I do. I'm trying to separate between food that promote longevity and food that does the opposite and select one. And it's not that difficult. For instance, if you look at berries, if you look at anything that produce polyphenols, tannins, these fruits not only not elevate blood sugar, they can reduce blood sugar after your meal. Green tea, even grapes, if you eat them with the pits, the pomace, recent research showed that when people eat grape pomace, the peel, the peats, and the grape. Not only it doesn't raise blood sugar, it reduces blood sugar after the meal. Postprandial reduction in blood sugar is a key for longevity. Scientists today believe that postprandial after meal elevation of blood sugar and lipid is the #1 factor responsible for the current epidemic of obesity, diabetes, etc. Think about it. People eat frequent meals during the day, and every time that they eat a meal, sometimes 6 meals, there is elevation of blood sugar and lipid. It freaks out your insulin, overspike it, and it ages you. If we can eat food that prevent it from happening, we already half of the way. Then there are soft nutrients, which are collected from peats and peels. Berberine probably is the #1 prince of soft nutrient. There is salicin, resveratrol, curcumin. Okay, green tea polyphenol, I mentioned it. You let this nutrient come to your system, and finally, move away from liquid food. Use your saliva. Your saliva is your first defense against disease, against infection. I don't know if you're aware, but in the bodybuilding industry, sport nitric oxide boosters is a huge product today. They are using the same pathway of converting arginines or NOS, and nitric oxide is very important. However, there is an alternative metabolic pathway. It's called the alternative nitric oxide, which is coming from vegetables, and it's much more effective and it's much more safe, but it needs the saliva interference. So when we live in today's world, it's very, very important to move away from processed food, liquid meals, into solid food. Very important. There is not enough time to cover all the science right now, but I can tell you that the benefit go far and beyond what people think. Simple thing. Saliva can absorb nitrate from vegetable, convert to nitrate right here on the surface with anaerobic of the tongue with anaerobic bacteria. That nitrate hit your system and convert very safely to nitric oxide, which increase vasodilation, induce major anti-inflammatory, but most importantly, it's also improve the oxygen cost in your muscle. As an athlete, if you know how to do the right pre-exercise meals, you can trigger incredible improvement in mitochondrial function, tolerance of severe exercise, and finally, improve your recovery after exercise. All this knowledge is important because people want to live long, supposed to induce, and I'm finishing here, both nutritional and physical stress, good selection of food, elimination of the bad, the sugary, the starchy, the processed, moving back to old biological feeding of solid food, exercise properly, preparing your body to exercise properly, activating of the right nitric oxide pathway, I believe can make miracles to people. So ask me, what happened to those already with collateral damage? What happened to those already aged? What happened to those already sick? They have inflammatory disease. They have maybe even cancer. What happened to them? My answer is each one of us, including the sick people, have this awesome program inherent to us. It just needs to be activated, and it's never too late. I'm not even legally allowed to tell you what to do if you're sick. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm just saying, do your own research, trust your own biology, and give your body the chance to heal itself, because it will reverse the beat. Your body do not want to be sick. You don't want to be overweight or diabetic. Definitely cannot tolerate cancer. It has the system to kill it. if it's not too late, do everything possible to help it.
Ori, I need to end the show because I myself, talking of exercise, have to go to rugby training, which starts in half an hour, and it's a half an hour drive. Absolutely fascinating talk. I think credit to your work, and the reason why I asked how old you were is that you look at least 20 years younger than I would say anyone. Like, if I think about my granddad, who's 70 odd, he's got far more wrinkles, looks far more lower in energy. So I think, there's a huge amount that people can take away from here. And like you said, people need to think about what they want from their training, their health, their fitness. How do they want to feel every day? And go and do the research to find the information that will take them that one step closer. Where can people find you online? Where can they find your books if they'd like to read a bit more on what you spoke about today?
My books, The Warrior Diet and The 7 Principles of Stress, is available now on Amazon, published by North Atlantic Books. People can also visit our store in Amazon to look for stuff. Most importantly, just come to my Facebook account, Ori Hofmekler, my Facebook, and you can see a very live discussion about what we just discussed. And when I'm coming with new stuff, I'll definitely announce it there. By the way, I say I'm knocking 70, so I'm not yet, but I'm close, okay? But thank you for the compliment. Again, I truly believe that what you see is what you get, and it's never too late. So, and I really appreciate, so again, my new book is called The 7 Principles of Stress. I think most of what I talk today is in the book and much more than that. It talks a lot about feeding, instinct, and a lot of practical advice, not only in dandy situation, but even on worst case scenarios. So I want to thank you also for inviting me, and have a great training. And let's keep in touch. Let me know how you're doing there.
Yeah, definitely. Ori, thank you very much for being on the show and giving up your time. People that are listening, just in case you're not sure of how to spell Ori's name to find the books, it's Ori and then Hofmekler. If you put those book titles into Amazon, you will find it. Look Ori up on Facebook. Have a little look around. I have yet, if I'm honest, to read Ori's book, The 7 Principles of Stress, but I shall. I would highly recommend The Warrior Diet. I read that years and years ago, and it made me think a lot. If you've enjoyed this show, please do me the honour of maybe tagging someone else in on social media, letting us know what you think, getting in touch with Ori. If you've never left a review for the show on iTunes, then please support the show. For a while now, we've been trending at the #1 spot in the world with some of the shows. So thank you very much for your support of the show. That is absolutely incredible. If anyone has come over from Ori's audience and likes the show, hit subscribe. There's plenty of episodes. We've been around for nearly 5 years now, so this show is very old. We've had lots of incredible guests, and either way, I hope you've got a lot out of today. Right, Ori, that's us. All it leaves us to do is say goodbye.
I'd like to add just one more thing.
Go for it.
I was asked to. For those who live in the USA, I will do. I'm having a seminar at the Lafayette Library on Northern California, January 25th. And a book signing at the Book Passage Bookstore and Cafe at 1 p.m. On January 26th.
The only problem is, Ori, this show would have come out way after that date.
Okay. You can delete that message. It's fine. You can delete this message.
It's all right. We never delete anything from the show. Everything on this show is as it is. I've never, ever, ever deleted anything from any of my shows.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad. So if worst come to worst, it's going to be after that.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Ori, thank you again.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, and we'll be in touch.
We will. And for everyone that is listening right now, as you know, the show comes out every Thursday. I will see you next Thursday. In the meantime, stay awesome. Goodbye. Whoa, just before you go, couple of things. Firstly, if you need my help at any point in time, reach out to my Facebook fan page, ask a question, and I'll get back to you. The reason I like my Facebook fan page is because I can send voice memos back, and it's really time efficient for me to be able to help as many people as possible. If you want to find out just anything I'm up to, keep abreast of social media, make sure you're on my email newsletter, and all of that info is at bencoomber.com. If you want nutrition education in the future, then have a look at the BTNacademy. That's our online nutrition courses. If you want to be coached by me, then join my 90-day body and mind transformation program, Fat Loss for Life. And if you're looking for clarity, honesty, simplicity, and research-proven supplements that taste awesome, then go to awesomesupplements.co.uk. That's my links. That's where to find me. That's where to find the cool stuff. I'm out. Have an awesome day. Hey everyone, Ben Coomber Radio episode, not sure, doesn't matter. This is actually a very rare occurrence.